Have you ever been frustrated after leaving a conversation with a person over the phone or in written form? Have you ever experienced miscommunication and done so in multiple times, regardless of who you were talking to or how many times you restated yourself? I have. And actually, I still do. And honestly, I'm a bit frustrated by it because I thought I put in a lot of work towards understanding this and getting better at avoiding such problems. Well, let's talk about a few reasons why this happens. First reason is that we must understand the communication and personality styles that we have and what the pitfalls are. Then we must understand what the other communication and personality styles are of the other person and how we can identify and adapt to them. Personality and culture definitely influence the way you prefer and communicate with others and what you pick up on. There are numerous tests and names that you can find and may know them by, but I will focus on 4 communication styles and the quadrants in which they belong. I will also speak about 2 cultural communication contexts. There are 4 types that you may have heard of, and they are dominant, influencer, steady, and conscientious. We all have a primary and secondary type. Mine is dominant, then steady. Dominants are known as drivers and directors. They are focused on results and leave the implementation details to others. When dealing with them, try to get right down to business and stay on topic. Be prepared for follow-up questions and for them to be fairly blunt. Avoid making promises that you cannot deliver on. Steady types or harmonizers are relators. They value consistency, loyalty, and stability. When dealing with this type of communicator, expect them to ask for a lot of details. Listen intently to them with eye contact and repeat in summary what you have heard and understood from them. Avoid rushing them into decisions and making them know and expecting them to know what your deadlines are. You must explicitly state them. Anyone that has known me for any length of time knows that I tend to ask questions when I have to take action on something, especially when it involves my children. If it's just myself, I may not, just to avoid looking argumentative or like I do not understand. But if I am expressing the way that I feel or how something is going to affect other people, I definitely need to know that you have heard and understood what I have just said to you. If you downplay or minimize what I have said, we just might have a problem for the remainder of our time together. Everyone likes to be heard, and feeling ignored or not getting a question answered does not yield results in my foreseeable opinion. And if we're in a meeting and the business that we are there to attend to is not handled quickly, I would just do my best to get us on track and to discuss at least one of the issues. This definitely has done some good and some bad. For the other people in the room that were also feeling frustrated, it helped. But for others, I was viewed as pushy and out of line, and therefore this leads to the cultural differences. Before we jump into those, though, let me quickly tell you the 4 quadrants of the personality styles. The 4 quadrants are excitable, task-oriented, people-oriented, and even-keeled. Obviously, my dominant style falls into excitable and task-oriented. Cultural differences play a part in how we communicate as well. One can come from a high context or low context culture. On the spectrum of low context, German and Swiss are the strongest. American, Australian, and other Northern European societies fall along this spectrum. High context cultures are as Asian, African, Central European, and Latin American. In high cultures, relationships build slowly and depend on trust. Nonverbal elements are significant and verbal is indirect. Space is communal, learning in groups is preferred. In low context cultures like the US, relationships begin and end quickly. Nonverbals are significant and verbal communication is direct. However, I have learned to pay a little bit of attention to those nonverbals as well, and this is where my steady comes into play. Privacy and important or individual learning is preferred. And with all of this in mind, I've tried to adapt to different communication needs and styles while I was living in Switzerland and while I was employed with the State Department. The U.S. military is a low context culture, as is the U.S., but the State Department is high context, and a lot of families that I interacted with at my son's schools while in Switzerland, they were high context cultures as well. However, the overall consistent culture that I was around was extremely low context, and it was a bit difficult for me not engaging in a small talk with strangers while in the checkout lines, including the clerk, or passing by my neighbors, and in groups, like group messages like WhatsApp. When questions go unanswered, that was a bit unnerving for me. Additionally, when members in the group are sending messages during all kind of times of the day and night, it's like you telling me that nobody can answer the questions, not even an admin. And in those situations, that's when it's like, is there an appointed leader? And perhaps it wasn't, but there's definitely an unspoken expectancy for one to be the leader, even if it's not stated. So these are a few of the cultural communication differences that I have noticed while living abroad and also being exposed to working outside of the military organization. Do you know what your personality and communication style, and have you taken any of those tests that are out there? The links to the information that I talked about while trying my best not to lecture you and the cultures will be in the description box. So please share your thoughts and experiences while communicating across cultures and like this video. For more videos, be sure to subscribe to this channel and hit the notifications bell while new videos are released. And let's talk more about cultural communication. Thanks.